So here's what I think Amazon needs to do to make this MMO hopefully legendary. Fingers crossed. One, I think they need to keep the real-time combat, but make it more cinematic. Think large-scale battles. You know, you really need to kind of focus on some of the old school Lord of the Ring games, not just the MMO, but some of the single-player games that came out, you know, back on like Xbox. You need to look at the combat in the movies and those large-scale battles, and I think they need to try to match some of that tempo, and I think they can really crush that combat system if they focus on those things. Number two, man, they really have to focus on building a world that feels alive. They really need to nail that sense of aliveness in a game, and I think one thing they could do is add more NPCs into the world. There's one thing I hated about a lot of MMOs. For example, like Final Fantasy 14, they would have NPCs, but it would be in this like massive kingdom, and to me, I want that kingdom to be like filled with people. All right, future me here. I'm currently in the editing process of this video. As I've been making this video, I've noticed I've been saying a lot of things that I should have done a better explanation on, and it almost feels like I'm just like rage baiting some of you. So if you don't agree with some of the things that I'm saying, please let me know in the comments, and I'll try to comment back to give you a better explanation of what I was trying to say. This is one of the things though I did want to address immediately, because I knew someone was going to comment about this, about Final Fantasy 14 being kind of dead and them having these big kingdoms but like nobody in it. That's not inherently true. What I'm getting at is there are some locations, let's say, that aren't like one of the more popular, more frequented locations from the community, that can feel a little empty and dead for the scale that it is. Like, let's say you have, again, like a massive castle or something, and it's not a very hot spot for players, or maybe it's just so big, if there's a lot of players there, they're consolidated in one spot and they don't get spread out. Like cities like that, I think if they add more NPCs into those zones, it can help the game feel a lot more alive. And I think that is a good idea, as long as it doesn't like mess with like, you know, frame rates and like performance of the game. But I'm going to put something up on the screen real quick so you guys can see a pretty populated location in Final Fantasy 14. And I think it looks and sounds great, because something they also do in the game is, you know, when you have a lot of people located in one hub, they start to add like crowd noises and things like that, like those sound effects into the zone, and as you leave it changes. And I think that is an amazing